The campaign has been devastating. The winter was brutal. The enemy breached the outer walls. The grain stores are low, and the healers are exhausted. You stand in the courtyard of your keep, surrounded by the smoke of a recent fire. You look down at your armor, and it is covered in mud. It is deeply dented. You are bleeding from a long, jagged cut across your forearm. The pain is sharp. The exhaustion is absolute. But as the surviving lords and the merchants walk past you, you do not ask for a bandage. You do not sit on the stone bench to rest. Instead, you force the muscles in your face to form a smile. When they ask you how the battle went, you speak through clenched teeth. You say, "It is a glorious day. The sun is shining. The wound is nothing. Everything happens for a reason." You stand in the ashes of your own kingdom, actively bleeding, pretending that you are standing in a garden. In the clinical world, this exhausting, dangerous facade is known as toxic positivity and emotional invalidation. In the language of the keep, it is the anatomy of the painted smile. We must examine this sickness closely, because it is an insidious poison disguised as medicine. The modern realm is obsessed with the illusion of the unbroken spirit. The heralds sing that happiness is a choice. They sing that a true knight never lets the winter touch his soul. They command you to look on the bright side of the blade that just cut you. But psychology reveals a far darker reality. When you force a mind that is currently drowning in grief or terror or exhaustion to perform the theater of joy, you do not cure the pain. You double it. This is the physiological cost of emotional labor. It takes an immense amount of vital energy to suppress a genuine emotion. It takes strength to hold the jaw rigid when the body wants to weep. It takes profound effort to paint a bright white smile over a rusted, broken helm. When you engage in toxic positivity, you are fighting a war on two fronts. You are fighting the actual wound on your arm, and you are fighting the desperate, exhausting internal battle to convince yourself and the realm that the wound does not exist. The tremor in your chest is not silenced by the painted smile, it is magnified. Because now, on top of the pain, you have added the heavy iron weight of shame. The ego whispers a terrifying lie. It says, "If you cannot find the blessing in this tragedy, you are weak. If you are angry about this betrayal, you lack discipline." You begin to gaslight your own nervous system. When a fellow knight falls in the mud, and you tell him to just be positive, you are committing an act of deep psychological treason. You're not comforting him. You are silencing him. You are telling him that his reality, the freezing mud, the blood, the terror, is unacceptable to you. You are demanding that he perform a cheerful play to make you feel more comfortable with his suffering. This is the ultimate alienation. A warrior who is forced to wear the painted smile is the loneliest creature in the realm. Because he knows that the people around him do not love him. They only love the mask. They love the illusion of his invincibility. If they saw the blood, they would turn away. To survive the brutal reality of the world, you must execute a maneuver of profound Stoic rebellion. You must reject the tyranny of the sun. True Stoicism is not the denial of pain. It is the absolute, unflinching acceptance of it. The Stoic masters did not walk through a burning village and declare that the fire was beautiful. They looked at the ashes. They acknowledged the horrific loss. They felt the grief of the destruction. And then they picked up a bucket of water. You cannot heal a wound that you refuse to look at. You cannot rebuild a wall if you pretend it has not fallen down. In clinical terms, this is emotional validation and radical acceptance. When the winter comes and the cold bites through the armor, you must give yourself permission to shiver. When the alliance breaks and the betrayal strikes deep, you must give yourself permission to feel the absolute burning fury of the injustice. You must look at the cut on your arm and you must say, "This is a terrible wound. It is bleeding. It hurts. I did not want this to happen. The moment you speak the truth of your own suffering, the exhausting theater ends. The energy you spent maintaining the painted smile is immediately returned to you. The tension in the jaw releases. The chest expands. You are no longer fighting the reality of the realm. You are simply existing within it. You realize that sadness is not a sin. Anger is not a weakness. Grief is not a failure of character. They are the natural, unavoidable weather of a life lived in the open field. Do not let the merchants of hollow joy shame you for your scars. A knight who smiles while his keep burns is a fool who will soon be ash. A knight who weeps at the ruin, who screams at the injustice, and who then picks up the heavy stone to rebuild the wall. That is a commander. Walk to the wooden basin, dip your hands in the cold water. Wash the cheap, white paint from your helm. Let the realm see the mud. Let them see the dents in the steel. Let them see the exhaustion in your eyes. The truth of your pain is infinitely more powerful than the lie of your perfection. Acknowledge the dark. Bandage the wound, the march continues.